Hey guys, welcome to today's video on how to choose the best training split for you. So training splits can be really confusing for people that are really trying to optimize their training. So we're going to break down some of the most common training splits, have a look at their advantages, disadvantages, what I would recommend for the different days you can train so that you can make a good decision on the best training split for you as an individual. Whenever we're looking at training splits, the most important thing to understand that most people end up forgetting is that a training split is simply a way of organising your volume throughout the week. So everybody has a certain amount of training that they need to get in, and then the training split just allows you to systematically order that and organise it in your week rather than not knowing what's going where. So each week you've got your certain threshold of volume that you need in order to make progress, and a training split helps you divide that into a system which makes the most sense for the most optimal results. Now, there's nothing magic about a certain split, just like there's nothing awful about a certain split, but there's definitely ones which are going to be better for making progress. So, what makes a good training split? The main variable which is going to be affected by the training split that you choose and that will decide whether it's an effective or a less effective split is the training frequency that it promotes. This is the number of times per week you're training a muscle group. So for example, if you trained chest every single Monday but no other day of the week, you'd have a frequency of once per week. If you train chest on Monday, Wednesday and Friday, that's 3 times a week, so your chest training frequency is 3 times per week. Both scientific research and practical experience are all pointed towards in favour of higher frequency splits, just because you're getting a more frequent spike in muscle protein synthesis, and you're also getting a higher quality of volume throughout those workouts. So that leads us on nicely to the quality of your volume. And this basically means how well you are executing your sets, your reps, your sessions as a whole. The higher quality your volume is, the more it's going to benefit you and the more it will contribute to your overall progress. And some splits are going to allow for a higher overall quality of volume, and some will be more detrimental to your training volume quality. So for example, if you need 20 sets per week to stimulate muscle growth in your legs, you could do all 20 of those sets in one workout, and that would be possible. However, after the first 10 or so sets, which are already going to be really hard, you're going to start losing energy, strength, all of that's going to decline, along with your mental focus just to push through the session and to execute your form to perfection on every single rep of every single set. That's all going to go down. So this is going to mean a higher chance of injury, reduced time under tension, less weight being used, so less total work for the muscle. This is just overall lower quality of the sets because you're fatigued. You've got that accumulative fatigue building up throughout the session, which is detrimental to what you can perform in the gym. Whereas on the flip side, if you spread those 20 sets for your legs over 2 or 3 workouts where you were doing, say, 10 sets in one workout, 10 sets in another, for each of those workouts should be much more fresh, rather than doing 10 good sets and then having the rest of the sets slowly dropping off. You get in on one day, do your 10 good sets, you leave, you do whatever else you need to do, you come back another day and you get another 10 good sets. There's no decline. So that's why training frequency in a split allows you to get higher overall volume quality. Another massive aspect of your training, which is going to be influenced by the training split that you choose, is the time commitment of that split. This may seem obvious, but it's still worth going over and highlighting, because there's no point choosing, let's say, a push-pull legs split, which requires you to be in the gym 6 days per week if you only can make it into the gym twice per week. It needs to be something that you can stick to realistically without stress for you to be able to progress optimally. So a big part of choosing which split is best for you is just how many days you can get into the gym. Training focus is also something which can heavily be reflected in your training split. Let's say you skipped legs for the first 2 years of your training, didn't we all? And now you're playing catch up, so you need to focus on your legs more than your upper body. Well, in that situation, if you were getting into the gym 5 days per week, you could do upper body twice per week and lower body 3 days per week, so that your total frequency and volume for legs is higher, placing focus on that muscle group, so you can catch up from your slacking off on legs for 2 years. And lastly, what makes a good split for you is if you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy the split that you're doing, then what's the point in doing it? Just because a certain split might be the most scientifically optimal, perfect thing you can do in the gym, if it makes you hate being there, then why do it? Why be there? Because it might help you get to here faster when you're here, but doing something that's less optimal will still get you to here. It will just take longer because it's a bit of a diverted route. But overall, just because something is scientifically perfect, if you don't enjoy it, don't do it. So if for the last 5 years you've been doing a bro split and that's what you love doing, you don't enjoy doing push-pull legs, whatever, you're a bro split kind of guy, then by all means, keep being a bro. Okay, so with keeping in mind all the factors we've just spoken about, what splits are the best? To start with, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the bro split. For those of you that don't know, a bro split is where you go into the gym and you train one muscle group per day. So this could look something like Monday is chest, Tuesday is back, Wednesday is legs, Thursday is shoulders, Friday is arms, and then you rest Saturday and Sunday. So it's usually a 5-day split, one muscle group per day, so that's a frequency of once per week. You'll see a lot of people advocate for this split, quite often bros or old school bodybuilders, that kind of thing, and then you'll get the opposite of these people who say that following a bro split is literally committing a sin. Personally, I'm kind of in the middle. It definitely has a lot of downsides. I mean, your frequency is going to be very low. It's going to be once a week. I've even seen bro splits of a frequency of less than once per week, which is really bad. And this also means that your volume is going to be very low, or you're going to be cramming loads of sets and reps into one workout a week. So then the quality of that volume, like we discussed earlier, will be low. So it's either low volume or low quality volume with a load of junk volume at the end of your session. So the main thing I don't like about it is that it encourages the use of a lot of isolation and machine exercises, just because you can't go in and train chest for a solid hour, hour and a half using only compound free weight movements, even though those are the most effective things. So I prefer a split that advocates for a focus around compound exercises and free weight movements, rather than encouraging so much isolation like a bro split does. So it's not great. However, that being said, if you're okay with following a split that isn't optimal, that isn't the most scientifically best thing, like we said, it will still get you to or close to where you want to be. It will just take longer to get there. And if you're okay with following something that isn't scientifically optimal, then bro split's fine. And if you just really enjoy this style of training and it's what you and all your mates do, then by all means, do what you enjoy. So if you want to be a bro, then go ahead, be a bro. But for everyone else that wants something a bit more optimal, so in my opinion, these are the best splits you can do for the different number of days in the gym per week, and I'll explain why. Okay, so training 1 day per week. Controversial, but unfortunately it's not okay to just go into the gym once per week and train biceps. You need to train your whole body evenly, so it's going to be a full body split when you're training once per week. I think that's quite obvious. You can actually get some pretty significant results with one resistance training session per week. You just need to do that one session well. It needs to be a good session. Good workout programming and good nutrition is going to be extremely important to get good results from this. If you program this wrong, you could end up with some pretty nasty imbalances and increase your risk of injury, or you could just generally not see much progress doing it once per week. But if you do only have one day in the gym per week, then definitely make it full body. It's a great way for beginners to get into this, and it can scale alongside. So if you move to 2 days a week, you can carry on with the same program, just doing full body twice per week. Also, since beginners barely need any volume at all to stimulate muscle growth, they pretty much just pick up a weight and their muscles grow. Because it's everything in one session, you can get the volume you need, you can get in, you can get out. Your sessions can be focused purely around compound free weight movements, and you're going to be good to go. Not much really changes when you're moving to 2 days per week, and I would definitely still recommend a full body split when you're training twice per week. Like we were saying earlier on in the video, the difference is found between a training frequency of once per week and twice per week is pretty significant. You get that, you double the amount of spikes you get to your muscle protein synthesis, you double the amount of chances you have to build muscle. So if you're in the gym twice per week, why not still choose a split that allows you to hit everything twice? Just as if you're doing a full body split once per week, programming and nutrition is going to be super important, especially if those 2 sessions are close together in the week, say a Tuesday and a Thursday. So I definitely recommend getting help or advice from somebody who knows what they're talking about. With 3 days training per week, we're starting to get a lot more flexibility and range in the choices we have for training splits. However, what I would personally recommend is a full body split 3 days a week. So I know I'm just repeating myself now, but this allows you to get those quick spikes 3 times a week, spikes in muscle protein synthesis. It's going to be really beneficial for sending a muscle building signal throughout your body, stimulating a bunch of muscle, burning a lot of calories in your sessions. And because the per session volume isn't going to be really high, you're not going to be building up a huge amount of fatigue and getting a huge amount of DOMs in your muscles the day after training, delayed onset muscle soreness. You can definitely do this 3 days a week. However, another really good option for a training frequency of 3 times per week is an upper-lower full body split. As this still gets you a twice per week training frequency, you're still going to be hitting everything twice a week because you've got your upper body, you've got your lower body, and then you're hitting everything together in your full body day. But it also adds a bit more structure to your sessions. I've had some clients in the past who don't really like doing full body splits because you're doing a leg press and then the next minute you're doing a bicep curl and then you're doing a calf raise and then you're doing a tricep push down or a lateral raise. It just feels quite strange and disorganized for some people, so they like having the upper and the lower body day separate, and then you've got to just put up with that full body day at the end of the week. So 4 days a week, we are finally getting away from the full body training sessions. I'm sure you'd be glad to hear. And with 4 days per week, my recommendation for your split is going to be upper, lower, upper, lower. I would recommend doing that where you have 2 days of training, rest, 2 days of training, rest 2 days. So that will fit nicely into your week. This is a great way to split up your muscle groups because you're getting that twice per week frequency on every muscle group, and you're also getting a good amount of rest in between, and you've got a good amount of focus within your sessions. You're not going from leg press to lateral raises, like I said, in 3 days per week. However, for more advanced people, it can be difficult to fit the amount of training volume you need to make progress into just 2 upper body sessions, let's say, because there's so many muscles to cover in those sessions. So you might need to start looking at other ways to implement extra volume, such as drop sets and supersets, that kind of stuff. If you're not too sure about training volume, how much you need to make progress, hit the link in the description and it will go to the video I made on training volume progression. 5 days per week is where you really open yourself up to a bunch of different training splits, and honestly there's loads of different options you can do, and they're all going to be pretty much as good as each other. As long as you're hitting each muscle group twice a week, then you're going to be okay. However, my personal recommendation for a 5-day split will be an upper, lower, upper, lower, upper split. So you're doing upper body 3 days per week, and you're doing lower body 2 days per week. This is an amazing way of organising your training volume, especially for experienced lifters, for a few reasons. First off, you're going to be targeting your upper body muscles 3 days per week, so you're getting a frequency on your upper body of 3 times per week, which those muscles generally respond really well to, and you've got 3 separate sessions to get all of your required training volume in, so that's going to be super effective. Because you're spreading out your upper body volume over 3 sessions, your overall training quality is going to be high because you have less of that cumulative fatigue like I said about, and you'll also be able to do more of the high quality compound movements and have to focus less on the lower quality, less effective isolation movements. Again, because you're getting those 3 sessions, it also allows you to have a focus on each of the main movers. So for your first upper body session, it can be a focus on chest. Your second upper body session can be a focus on back. And then your third upper body session can be a focus on shoulders, which is great because when you're doing something like a push-pull leg split, your push tends to prioritize your chest, your pull prioritizes your back, so your shoulders are kind of that awkward halfway point. They never really get prioritized, they're in the middle of the workout. So doing this is a really good way to make sure that everything is being developed and worked equally. And the other reason I love this is that it isn't 3 times frequency for your legs, because the legs in particular, for most people, are the worst place for muscle soreness after training. Some people, no matter how tame they are with their leg workouts, they'll still be sore for multiple days. So training legs 3 days a week, even if you're managing your intensity and volume well, which is really hard to do no matter how experienced you are, it's just not feasible or just not enjoyable because of the mental challenge of a leg day. So doing it twice per week is more than enough. It's plenty to get your volume in. So I think that having a training split where you get a frequency of 3 times on your upper body is great, and twice per week on your lower body is great. Next up is 6 days per week, and for 6 days a week, I think that push-pull legs is the way to go. Considering everything we've just said, why would I not go for upper lower, upper lower, upper lower? Pretty good question, and the answer to that would be rest. If you're doing upper lower, upper lower, upper lower, between those leg days and between those upper days, you only get 1 day to recover. So if you push it just slightly too far one day, then the next session is going to be ruined by just that slight increase in intensity. Either you're going to be too sore to train, or you're just going to be not well recovered enough mentally and physically to push and produce as much force with your muscles as you should be able to. But with a push-pull legs split, where you're training chest, shoulders and triceps one day, the day after back and biceps, and then your legs, you've got plenty of time, 2 to 3 days between sessions to recover, and you're getting a nice focus on those muscle groups per session, so it's really easy to get in the amount of volume that you need to progress to a good high quality, to a good standard. Of course, you're getting twice a week frequency, which is going to be more effective, as I've said many times, than once per week, and it's just generally an enjoyable split for most people coming in and just doing a legs, just doing full body, whatever it may be. You've got push, pull, legs, so it keeps things fresh, it keeps things interesting. A lot of people really enjoy it. So if you can get into the gym 6 days a week, then push-pull legs is what I think you should do. There is one modification I'd recommend though. So a lot of people see a training split as following 7 days as a cycle. So for a push-pull legs, you would do push-pull legs, rest, and that's your week. So you'd be doing 6 days training and then 1 day of rest. The modification I'd recommend is by actually changing your training cycle to 8 days. So instead of following a standard week, do push-pull legs, rest, push-pull legs, rest, and then having it repeat. So every week, the day you train something will be moved along and your rest days will be moved along. But by following an 8-day cycle, it's just going to help you get in those extra rest days, which, trust me, most people will need. Not many people can get away with training 6 days a week. And for training 7 days a week, Jesus man, just take a break. But seriously, we all do need a rest day, even you who's saying you don't, because muscle isn't built whilst you're training, muscle is built whilst you're recovering. I know it's cliche, but it's cliche because it's true. If all your body is always trying to do is recover from your training sessions, then it's not actually getting better. During your training session, you're going down, you're getting worse, you get worse output from your muscles because they're fatigued. And then if you're training them, as soon as they're back to baseline, they're dipping again. They never get an opportunity to go above baseline and get better. This is called a recovery trap, and it happens to a lot of people. So make sure you are getting your recovery days in there. Do not be training 7 days a week.
Go away! Read some books!
And that is all I've got for you today, guys. I hope I've cleared up some of the information out there on training splits, and I hope I've made it easier for you to decide which training split might be best for you. Open your mind on some different factors to take into consideration. All of that good stuff. Just remember that while some training splits might be more optimal than others, like a bro split is going to be less optimal than one that allows you to do a frequency of 2 or 3 days per week. If you're not enjoying it, then it doesn't matter how optimal it is, you're not going to be consistent, and at the end of the day, consistency is what's going to get you the best results. Of course, if you have any more questions on this topic, do leave them in the comments below and I'll get right back to you. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content coming soon, and also please give the video a thumbs up. Until the next one, see you later guys.